understood that unicorns were imaginary.
"What will I need it for?"
she asked as she slipped the chain over her head. Grandmother Morris leaned forward and rubbed her brow with her fingertips.
"Do you think I'm crazy?"
Cara felt another twinge of fear.
"What kind of question is that?"
she wondered. Before she could decide how to answer, they heard a step in the hall, followed by the creak, ever so slight, of a door swinging open. It was the same door, Cara was sure, that they themselves had come through when they entered the sanctuary. Silence. Was their hunter standing there waiting for them? To Cara's astonishment, her grandmother slid to the floor, ducking her head so that it was hidden by the pew in front of her. She tugged at Cara to indicate she should do the same. When Cara had joined her, the old woman began to move toward the center aisle of the church. Cara followed. The pews were too close together for them to drop to their knees and crawl. They moved instead by a sort of scooting method until they came to the end of the pew. Then her grandmother did drop to her hands and knees. No sound yet from the open door where their pursuer stood waiting, and no chance for Cara to question her grandmother as to what was going on. When they reached the back of the church, they huddled together behind the last pew. 6 or 7 feet ahead of them loomed a pair of large wooden doors, impossible to open without drawing the attention of the pursuer. Cara stared at them the way a traveler in the desert might stare at an unclimbable glass wall behind which lay a pool of clear water. They waited. No sound from the front of the church. Was the man still there? Or had he closed the door so silently they hadn't heard and gone on to search elsewhere? How long would they have to stay like this? Who was he, anyway? Cara trembled and tried not to cry as the questions and the fear swept through her. Raising her hand to her neck, she clutched the special. The feel of it brought back an old memory, something she could glimpse only in tatters and fragments. It was from just before she had lost her parents. She had been 2, maybe 3 years old, and very ill. Her grandmother had stayed by her bed for many hours. When she had finally been forced by another emergency to leave, she had acceded to Cara's pleading and left the amulet behind. It was the first and only time Cara had had the special to herself. She had clutched it tightly as she drifted in and out of fever dreams. And in that time, as she tossed and moaned on the bed, something had come to her. She remembered only a glimpse of white and a sense of peace. Then something had touched her, a touch that was fierce and hard, both hot and cold at once. In that moment, the fever had broken. That was all that remained to her of a memory that had tugged and teased in the years that followed, slowly fading from the surface, yet never leaving altogether. As she grew older, she told herself that it had been a hallucination, a side effect of the fever. Yet whenever she thought of the incident, she had a sense of something altogether unearthly having brushed her life. At times, she had even longed to be ill again, in the hope that she might once more experience the strange mystery of that night. She could certainly use a little magic right now. She blinked. How long had she been sitting here, lost in memories? With some discomfort, she realized that her leg was going to sleep beneath her. Grandmother Morris leaned close. In a voice so soft that Cara could barely hear it, even though the old woman's lips were brushing against her ear, she whispered,
"We have to get out of here. We're going to crawl to those doors as silently as we can. I will push one open. You go through first. Be ready to run if I give the word."
Cara nodded. Hoping that her sleeping leg wouldn't betray her, she tipped herself forward and began to crawl. The beating of her heart seemed to pound in her ears, the sound so loud she wondered that it alone did not alert their pursuer. Grandmother Morris was close behind her. And what of the man who was stalking them? Was he still here, or had he given up, leaving them to fear nothing but shadows? The smooth floor was cold beneath Cara's hands. The door was warmer and carved with designs that her fingertips couldn't quite decipher.
"Be ready,"
whispered Grandmother Morris. Kneeling beside Cara, she began to push on the door. Cara wedged her way into the opening, scarcely daring to breathe. She was halfway across the threshold when her grandmother cried,
"Run, Cara, run!"
Springing to her feet, Cara bolted for the next set of doors, the ones leading to the outside. She grabbed at the handles, then cried out in despair. The doors were locked.